Hello everybody, I'm Tony Craig. This is F1 Grandstand and this is your daily Formula One news. So, Lewis, it's not Superman, Lewis Hamilton called Toto after the Bahrain test, and wait dear why he was calling him. Hamilton also says that Ferrari will come first over the rivalry between himself and Leclerc. Coulthard talks Cadillac and specifically his concerns about the drivers. Aston Martin Honda update. Red Bull, is it power over reliability? That is the question out in the press today. And the Piastri effect. Oh yeah, Piastri mania has hit Australia in time for the Melbourne Grand Prix. So yes, if you're a Formula One fan, of course you're in the right place. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Smash a like on the video, please. And if you do subscribe, make sure you've got the bell all icon ticked. That way you're in control of all the content you interact with. Let me say hello to the chat. Hey Reevesy, hey Dolly, hey Gemma, Queen of the chat. Retro Man's in there. Anthony's in there. Giuseppe's in there. Chef's in there. Ronnie's in there. Everyone, Mario's in there. Jaman is in there. Everyone's in there. And I just caught Reevesy's comment about Sky Sports covering the news about Honda and Aston Martin doing the minimum. Reevesy, I did a segment on this. Was it last night or the night before? I was doing it first. Sky Sports have copied me, by the way. We'll talk about it again tonight, Reevesy. But let's get into the first story. We have got a lot to get into. It's a good show tonight, guys. You're in the right place. You don't want to miss it. So before I get into why Lewis Hamilton is calling Toto Wolff, I need to set something up first. So the first segment is going to be about this. And then we're going to get into Lewis called Toto. So Lewis Hamilton admits Ferrari come first as he navigates rivalry with phenomenal Charles Leclerc. So this is Hamilton really towing the Ferrari line right now. And this is his quote. So obviously, we all know, golden rule in Formula One, beat your teammate. You cannot win a world championship without beating your teammate, full stop. And also, if the car's crap, you've still got to beat your teammate. So, you know, that's the bottom line. He didn't do it last year. He does need to do it this year. However, Lewis has been in the press today saying this. Lewis Hamilton does not want to split Ferrari's fan base by focusing on beating Charles Leclerc. Hamilton told Corriere della Sera, I don't see it that way. Ferrari are one thing in Italy and abroad. People follow them like a religion and love them like the Pope. My goal is not to divide the fans. We both want to win, and it's clear that I'd like to be the one to do it, and I am working towards that. But let me be clear, the team comes first. Charles is a phenomenal driver in terms of his driving style and his ethics, and he's been here for 8 years. But I'm coming into this championship differently. Now, what does he mean about that sentence? But I'm coming into this championship differently. What he's basically saying is, I think he's coming in, what that tiny little sentence means to me is, one, he's coming into 26 different than he went into 25 and how he ended 25. He's obviously coming in with a clear focus, a will to win, a car that he likes, a car that he's helped develop, but even having said all that, he wants to let all the tifosi know, listen, I know there's a lot of Charles Leclerc fans out there. I don't want to alienate you. I don't want to split the Ferrari team down the middle. And I don't want it to become that. Ferrari will come first. The real question is, do we believe him? Do we believe him? Or is this Hamilton on the PR offensive? Do we believe him? Ugh. Here's what I think. I think what drivers say publicly sometimes isn't what they think internally. I think Lewis Hamilton, regardless of what he says there, team comes first. Yeah, team comes first. All right, PR line. What do I really think? I think Hamilton thinks he's got a chance this year. I think he's got a car that is looking quite good. And really, the next story about the why he called Toto Wolff plays into this, which is why we have to set it up with this conversation. So this is what I think. I think Hamilton thinks he's going to win. I think he thinks he's going to have got a chance of beating Leclerc. I think he wants to beat Leclerc. But he can't come out into 26 going, I've got a new attitude, I'm ready, and Charles Leclerc, I'm coming for you after what you did last year to me. No, because Charles Leclerc didn't do anything bad to Hamilton last year. he just outperformed him. He was better in that car. He'd been on that platform in that car for obviously a longer period of time. Hamilton couldn't get to grips with it. Charles Leclerc was part of developing that 24 car, which was basically the 23 car with some added bits. And that's the thing. So Hamilton can't come out with fighting talk because Leclerc did support Hamilton in every opportunity. When asked, it must have been so annoying for Leclerc last year. How many times when he's getting interviewed by people, he's getting podiums, and what are they asking him in the press pen? Well, Hamilton said he might, that they need to change the driver. He's like, why am I answering questions about Lewis Hamilton? I'm Charles freaking Leclerc. I've just got a podium in a Ferrari. And you're asking me about Lewis's qualifying going out in Q1. And when he got his pole and they're asking him, oh, Hamilton went out in Q1 and you managed to put the car on pole. It's annoying, but Leclerc handled it brilliantly. So this is what I think. Yes, Ferrari comes first. But do I think Hamilton's not gunning for Leclerc? Of course he is. Of course he is. First super chat of the night. Gemma, queen of the chat. He's giving Bottas Cadillac vibes with that. Well, let me tell you about Gemma. I've got a little story about Cadillac coming up tonight. David Coulthard's been waxing lyrical. Gisette says he's doing PR. He's fitter than ever and in beast mode. Gisette. Couldn't agree more. I agree. Have you seen his training videos on Instagram? He said he's training harder than he's ever trained. He's lifting weights. He's doing everything he needs to do. And he's coming into this season giving himself the best chance to win. So, yeah, I agree. Gisette, 100% agree. Great comment as always. He's doing PR. Auxilla in the house. Auxilla says, did he, though? We forget about China or Miami. Well, China, Lewis Hamilton won the sprint race. And then the car failed, didn't it? The ride height, and when the car was working, Hamilton was quick in it. Yeah, that's what I think, Auxilla. And yeah, he did all right in Miami. I think, here's what I think. This is what I honestly think. I think, this is my prediction between the Ferrari drivers. I think we're going to see, and I want it to be like this actually. I think it's going to go punch for punch with Hamilton and Leclerc. I think Hamilton's going to get some quicker times than Leclerc in qualifying. And I think Hamilton's going to get some better race results than Leclerc. And I think they're going to jostle. And if at the end of the season, out of 24 races, it sits 12-12, 13-11, as in either driver, I think that's probably where it's going to be. I think these drivers should be pretty evenly matched. I'm excited for it, though. I'm excited for it because the Ferrari's looking good. Thank you so much for your super chat, Auxilla. Right, now that story leads into the Toto story, which is what I needed to sell. Chef said Lewis never liked the ground effect era cars. I still see Charles beating him, though. I think a lot of people agree with you on that, Chef. But like Gisette said, Lewis is in beast mode. I think he's coming in to this season better prepared. That's what I think. And Peter Arnold says, you're telling me if Lewis has a sniff and overtake on Leclerc to win a race, he's not going to take it. Yeah, pull the other one, Lewis. Exactly, Peter. He's going for it. If he sees a gap, he's going for it. And like Senna says, if you don't go for your gap, are you even a race car driver? Retro Man says Leclerc is faster, but Hamilton makes less mistakes. And I think, and here's the thing, Retro Man, I'm just going to pick up on that before I get on to the next story. That's a very good point because these 26 cars, all the analysis say that because of the way your battery management is on these cars, a tiny mistake can cost you not just a couple of tenths, it can cost you half a second in one lap. If you miss your braking point, you miss your harvesting point, and you cock it up, it can cost you more than ever in this new generation of cars. So that consistency is going to be important. It's not just about your hot lap. It's about consistently maximizing the performance of that battery. And drivers aren't going to get it right every single lap. And if you're a driver, like Pierre Gasly said this as well, he said it's going to favour the smart driver. Not necessarily the fastest driver, but the smartest drivers are going to do well with this generation of cars. Because you get it wrong, it's going to punish you more than ever over the lap. Yes! Michelle, buonasera, hello. Forza Ferrari. Yeah, this is your time. This is your time to get excited if you're a Ferrari fan. Let me get into the thumbnail story, though, because that sets it up. Because now we get into this, which I think is really quite amusing. So, after Bahrain, and after really what we have to say was a brilliant test for Ferrari, truthfully. Reliability from that Ferrari power unit. They're the only team that didn't have to aggressively go through the gears down to first gear on a turn 3 corner. Their gear ratios, I think, are favourable. So they only had to go into second gear to harvest the power, whereas other teams were going all the way down the gears to first gear, which is wear and tear on the gearbox, which Ferrari don't have. Those other things, the times between Leclerc and Hamilton were absolutely comparable. Hamilton fastest in Barcelona, fastest on a couple of days in Bahrain. Leclerc got a couple of faster times as well. It looked like they were jostling. The car looks good. So after that Bahrain test, what did Hamilton do? So Lewis Hamilton reveals he called Toto Wolff and Zak Brown looking for answers after Bahrain test, right? I think this is brilliant. So this is what happened. Lewis Hamilton called Toto Wolff trying to learn Mercedes' actual performance level in 2026. This is wild. So because obviously, here's the other thing about Mercedes as well, another bit of news. Mercedes homologated power unit after using older spec engines test in Bahrain. Only Mercedes used their final homologated engine in Bahrain. So what does that mean? Mercedes were running a different engine to Williams, Alpine and McLaren, and all those teams look pretty good. Mercedes sandbagging a little bit, but also look really strong. All those teams are now going to have the new homologated engine that was homologated on the 1st of March. So all of those teams, we are expecting an uptick in performance. So there is a brand new version of the Mercedes power unit that all teams will have for Melbourne. That's the first thing. Now, let me paint the picture of Bahrain. The lap times from testing don't offer an absolute clear picture of the pecking order, owing to the unknowns like fuel loads, engine settings, and fuel type. Hamilton called Wolff and Zak Brown to try and see how the cars that Mercedes and McLaren have developed compare with his Ferrari SF26. So let me set this up. He's done Bahrain. He's had a pretty good test and he's going, hey, this Ferrari's all right, but how good is it really? And he's got on the phone to Toto, his old mate, going, trying to get information from Toto Wolff through the back channels, expecting Toto to go, yeah, we were sandbagging, we've got another second apace. And then calling Zak Brown. Can you imagine calling another team principal? Going, hey, I've really enjoyed driving this Ferrari. It seems pretty good. I watched your car. Looks all right. Is that your quickest times? Or is there more in the locker? I mean, and he admitted it. Hamilton admitted he did this. And this is what Hamilton said to Correa de la Sera. He said, the Bahrain test revealed little. Everyone was hiding behind their fuel loads. I called Toto Wolff at Mercedes and Zak Brown at McLaren to try to understand what they understood, but I didn't get any results. Of course you didn't, Lewis. Of course you didn't. It's literally like Dixie Fried Chicken calling the Colonel at Kentucky Fried Chicken and go, hey, I think I've made a really good crunchy fried chicken, but I do like yours. Talk to me about that secret recipe you've got. And expecting the Colonel to go, all right, Mr. Dixie Fried Chicken, let me tell you, this is what we use. What are you using? Let's discuss it. Like, it's never gonna happen. Like, it's the craziest thing ever. But the ball's on Hamilton to ring the team principals, both of them, to try and find out where they're at. Like, in the world's most competitive motorsport. Just because you used to drive for Mercedes, I don't think Toto Wolff's going, hey, come in here. Let me lift the kimono for you. Have a good look at what we've got. Take that back to Ferrari and see what you need to work on, if anything. Like, what do you think that was going to happen? And then he goes on to say, however, I have one certainty after what we went through last year, that we at Ferrari can handle any situation. This team has everything it takes to win. We have to finish the job together with the fans. Easier said than done. But I came to Ferrari because I believe in it. And I still believe. Yeah, but you didn't get any secrets from Mercedes and McLaren, did you? As if. But he did it. He called him. I respect the bollocks on the guy to do that, I mean, it's freaking wild. It's freaking wild. Like, it is just like me ringing another YouTuber who's got a lot more subscribers. Hey, mate, I've really been doing well. Got to 10K. I see you've got 300,000 subscribers. How do you do it, bro? What can I do to nickel your subscribers? All right, mate, I'll tell you what you can do. This is how you do it. It's how you take all our subscribers. Like, it's the balls on the guy. But here's the thing. He's the one telling us he did it. This isn't like a story that's come out by a source said. This is Lewis Hamilton telling Correa de la Sport, I did this. Right? I did it. I called him. Like, oh, I respect the balls on the guy. But it's, yeah, Dawley, ask for hypes. Yeah, it's like me, imagine me going to like other top like Formula 1 YouTubers. Listen, go and watch my video. Give us a load of hypes, bro. Go and hype my channel. Like, he's like, oh my God. But it is, it's like calling the Colonel from KFC. And I'm Dixie Fried Chicken. I love your chicken, bro. I think I've improved my recipe. I think I've got it better than yours. Let's have a conversation about it. Tell me what's in yours. Like, of course it's not going to happen. The Colonel's going to go, I know you used to work for me, Dixie, and now you've set up on your own, but sorry, mate, I'm going to have to red button you now. Brr. It's crazy. But you've got to respect the cojones on it. And he's telling people about it. It's like Microsoft calling Apple. I see you doing well, Apple. I love your operating system. That Apple OS system's brilliant. I've just launched Windows 25. Just tell me though, have you got more to come out for that over the coming years? Because I want to listen to what your development plans are. Is that as good as it gets? So you got anything in the pipeline? Because then I know what I've got to develop for Microsoft. It's just bonkers. It is bonkers. But I love it. And here's my question for the chat. And we're gonna have a poll. We're gonna do a poll. And it's an easy poll tonight. Who will win 26 at Ferrari? Out of the who will win the drive? Hang on, I've typed really sorry. Who will win 26 driver battle at Ferrari? Hamilton or Leclerc? Because I'm interested to know what you guys think. So we'll do a poll. Because I think this is going to split the room. So I'm going to start the poll now. So who will win 26 driver battle at Ferrari? Poll coming in. Incoming. There it is. Tell me what you think whilst I do Giuseppe's super chat. Ha! Giuseppe, great super chat. The mind games are off the chart at Ferrari. Absolutely true. It's brilliant. And also another one, need to be fast, but who's the king of precision? Another super chat from Giuseppe. Yeah, exactly. Get your super chats in, guaranteed to be read out live on air. So, who is the king of precision? I would have to say, Leclerc, I would say over a lap, has proven himself last year to be faster than Hamilton. But Hamilton is a thinking driver. He's a clever driver. I'm not saying Leclerc's not clever, but over 70 laps, I mean, Hamilton, I don't know. I'd say Hamilton, if you bring peak Hamilton, I'm going to give him the precision trophy on that. But look at it already. I love the votes are coming in for the. It's a good poll. It's a good poll, and it's already like in the middle. I knew it'd split the room. This poll. It's a good one. Thane says, and people still think that Lewis will beat Leclerc. Well, we've got a poll running, Thane. We're asking the community. Get your vote in, Thane. Get your vote in. Oh, I like that, Alamentado. It's going to be a fight between Russell, Leclerc, Lewis, Verstappen. I would say, I like that. I'd say at the top, I would say that's my prediction as well. So from what I've seen in testing, I would say yes, because even if Verstappen's not got the best car, I think he's got enough of a car to be there or thereabouts. I like it. I do like it. But we're going to let that poll run. It's a good one. So yeah, it's Ferrari, always something to talk about. Always something to talk about. But yeah, I have to salute Lewis's big balls for making that call and then telling everyone about it. Like, I thought that was brilliant. Right, next story. This is an interesting one because I know we've got some Cadillac fans out there, and why not? Brand new to the grid. I'm rooting for Cadillac as well. But David Coulthard's brought up an interesting point. Coulthard questions Sergio Perez's return as Cadillac begin their F1 journey in the 26 era. Now, you might like David Coulthard, you might not, but he's brought up some good discussion points in the press today from Planet F1. So, he was talking about Bottas and Perez, and he says, Perez, obviously a former Red Bull driver, just like Coulthard, he says he has some concerns about. I don't think there's anything wrong with the two drivers that Cadillac have got. It's not the fastest pairing in Formula One, as established by their career so far, but they are a safe pair of hands. They don't need to be breaking cars with rookies. Absolutely. You don't want that in your first season. They need to be just getting up to speed with operation of the team, the new regulations and things like that. So I actually think they've made a smart choice. I agree with you on that, DC. I think that driver pairing is a smart choice and the right choice for Cadillac in their first season in Formula One. And this is what DC goes on to say. I think Bottas is better prepared because he's coming with that Mercedes information. Obviously, Bottas, reserve driver at Mercedes, doing loads of work in the simulator, still driving the F1 cars. So he's still fresh in the world of F1. His muscle memory is still there. I'm not saying Perez isn't, but we'll come to that in a minute. And this is what he says. I think he thinks he's better prepared with that Mercedes information. He's been working with Mercedes all last year, simulator work and the likes. And then he goes on to say, I am a little bit concerned for Perez, who's really enjoyed the siesta of a year off. Now, I'm not trying to body shame or fat shame anybody, but when Perez got the job, when we first saw him come back into Formula One, a lot of people noticed he wasn't in prime athletic condition, right? And a Formula One driver does need to be in his best shape. That doesn't mean he's not going to be in his best shape by Melbourne, but you could tell he'd had a year off is what I'm saying. And he deserved a year off. Why not have a year off? And if you are having a year off and you don't think you come back to Formula One, yeah, you should relax, have a few beers, have a cake if you want it, you know, be with your family. I'm not knocking him for that. But when he gets the call from Cadillac and he gets the job, then he goes into, oh shit, I better get into race trim, right? And good news for Perez. I do feel he looks like he's getting in shape, and he'll probably get even in better condition throughout the season. But the observation was there. He looked like he had a year off. So he said, I don't doubt his commitment, but you can switch it back on. But can you switch it back on when you've switched it off? Now, that's the question. Is a year out going to affect you to the point where you never get back to your previous best? And this is what DC is questioning. And then he goes on to say, they're old enough to be professional out of the car, talking about both drivers. They know they've got to work for the greater good of the team, but make no bones about it, their individual teams, managers, physios, and everybody that works around them, your teammate's success is your failure. And he goes on to say, what I always say, you've got to beat your teammate. And if we're laying it out now, I think Bottas has a better chance of beating Perez just by the fact he is more recent. He's been in an F1 car more recently. He's done all that work at Mercedes last year as the reserve driver. He says, and then he equates it to himself. He goes, I see it like this. When I stepped away from McLaren after 9 seasons, I didn't feel done with Formula One. And although I knew the Red Bull scenario was unlikely to bring me any more victories, it meant I could put my energy and anger and frustration and all the things that I carried in my career into help building the team. And that's exactly where I think Bottas and Perez's minds will be. So what he's basically saying is, because they've never been world driver champion, because they've always been drivers who have had really a number one, you know, Perez, Max Verstappen, Bottas, Lewis Hamilton, like they've never been that number one driver. He thinks that because they're at the latter end of their career, they will be carrying a lot of fuel in that sort of negative fuel, really, which is, I still want to do something. I want to do something of value. And I'm going to put all of that negative energy really for not winning a World Driver Championship maybe, or whatever it is, of being that in the shadow of that number one driver, and channel it into Cadillac's goal and mission to build that team. So that's what he thinks is happening, and that's why he thinks there's a benefit for Cadillac in that. But do you agree with him? Do you think that Bottas will beat Perez in 26? I'm getting some super chats in. I'm going to come to those right now. Thane says, come on, TC. You don't understand what good cuisine is when the pinnacle of British food is fish and chips. What most of the world considers kids' food. Yeah, I don't. I'm only just using it as an example, KFC, when I was doing the example about Hamilton. I'm not saying it's the best cuisine in the world. However, I do like fried chicken. I do. I will eat it, Thane. I will eat it. Thank you much for your super chat. Auxilla says, this year, these two will settle a debate on who had the better number two between Max and Lewis. Great point, Auxilla. And I think that's a good point. And I think it's a good talking point, because now we see what's left in the tank for these guys. You got to remember, Perez and Bottas both have done, I think between them, they've done over like 450 Grand Prix, or might even be more, might be 500 Grand Prix. A lot of experience. They've had a lot of podiums. They've had some Grand Prix wins between them. You know, they've had some, I mean, some drivers never get a Grand Prix win. Look at Hülkenberg. By all accounts, a great driver. Always been a good driver. Got his first podium after 14 years. In 25. In a Sauber. But people still rate him because he stayed in the game for 14 years. So they're not bad drivers. Right? Perez and Bottas will get you points. And I think the most important stat is they get in the points over 60% of their races. Both of them, 66% for Perez and 60% for Bottas, in the points. And they've not done just a few Grand Prix. They've both done over 230 and then 260 Grand Prix each. That's a lot of Grand Prix to be scoring 60% of them in the points, let me tell you. It's a good stat. And it's a stat Cadillac need. So yeah. And like Auxilla says, who's the better number two? Because both of these have been good number two drivers. Who's the better number two? So, look, do I agree with him? This is the question. Does DC get my agreement? If I had to put my money on the two drivers, which one comes out on top, I have to agree with him. I love Checo. I think peak Checo is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, I saw him do some races in that. What was that race where he came from the back? I want to say it was a Middle Eastern race. He came from the back. It was the race that convinced Horner to give him the drive, and he was driving like Force India, I think, and he came from 24th to win the Grand Prix. Do you remember it? The chat will know what I'm talking about. Perez has had some incredible races. But if I had to pick, Bottas gets it. Drop tune degrees to me. Bottas over Perez. Thank you, Thane. Bahrain. I knew it was Middle East. Bahrain 2019. Thane, was it the Force India who's driving? Was it even a great car, was it? I'm pretty sure it's a Force India. Is that right, Thane? Correct me, chat. Keep me honest. Yeah, and I think it was, and he came, and it was a world-class, phenomenal drive. Yeah, Dawley, I will poll that. Bottas versus Perez. In fact, are we all happy that we've completed the first poll? Force India, yeah. Amazing. Amazing drive. One of the drives of Formula One history for me. Okay, I'm closing the Hamilton-Leclerc battle. Hamilton wins. I can't believe that, actually. So, chat, you say 62% of you say Hamilton over Leclerc in 26. That's bold. That's bold. Right, I'm going to get my next poll. The next poll is on this one. We'll get 2 polls in tonight. Boom. 26. We're going to go Bottas or Perez. This is a good one, actually. I'll be interested with this. So this is the next poll of the night. Bottas, Perez, Cadillac. Which driver wins the battle in 26? Get your votes in now, chat. We'll wrap that one up at the end of the show. But yeah, it's Me Too on Tube. What Me Too on Tube experience, dude? Chat's gone crazy. Yeah, I love it. The chat is rolling through super quick tonight. I love it. So many of you in there. And by the way, if you're brand new and you're watching, do smash a like on the video. First thing to do. Everyone who's not done it, smash a like on the video. But secondly, get in the chat. Say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. This is the friendliest bunch, I'm telling you, but the best community. Get in there, get your questions in, get chatting away, and get involved with our second poll of the night. So that's DC, what he's saying about Cadillac. And whilst you're chatting away on there, I'm going to bring in the next one. Aston Martin Honda update. So we need to update what's going on. So it's only a quick update, this, but we do have a little bit more light shed on the Honda situation, because I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Ikao Takashi, Honda Racing Corporation's managing director, has been throwing a little bit more colour on the vibration situation. So this is what he had to say to the press about what's going on. He said, abnormal vibrations occurred and caused damage to the battery system. This was the main reason the car had to stop in Bahrain. We've investigated the cause on the power unit side, while the chassis side is also implementing countermeasures. Specifically at Sakura, we're using the real vehicle dyno to simulate the actual vibrations and analyze them. We're currently testing multiple countermeasure proposals. Simply put, abnormal vibration caused by combined factors during running damaged the battery system. We are working to improve it before the opening race, before Melbourne. So what do I take away from that? We know, as Reevesy pointed out, who ignored these segments in earlier shows, we know that Aston Martin the theory is that they were going to do the bare minimum to satisfy the Concord Agreement, which is the agreement all teams have to sign up for in accordance to go racing in Formula One. If they didn't show up to Melbourne, like just didn't turn up, that would be against the Concord Agreement. So what they have to do is they have these bare minimum clauses. You have to tick the boxes so you're not in breach of that contract and suffer penalties. So the rumour was that Aston Martin have got this bag of spanners Honda power unit, which hasn't been improved, the same car they had in Bahrain, and they were going to show up, turn up in qualifying, hopefully get a qualifying time that's within 107%, start the Grand Prix, do the bare minimum of laps, and then retire the cars just to satisfy the Concord Agreement. Now, with this new information, with them working around the clock to try and get a car that can at least not even compete, can at least take part in the Grand Prix and use it as a test to gather information for Honda, I think that's where they're at. I don't think they're going to do 5 laps and then come in, unless there's a severe problem. I think Honda might be able to do some improvements with the vibrations, some improvements with the engine. I think they'll still be underpowered. The gearbox is still a question mark, but they need to collect data. So I think they need to run for as long as they can, as hard as they can, as far as they can into the Grand Prix. I still don't think they'll finish the Grand Prix, but I think they need to test what they've got. And the only way to test it is to run it and break it if necessary. Do I think it'll break after 3 or 4 laps? I think there's a chance. Do I think they'll get halfway point? I think there's a chance. Do I think they'll finish the entire Grand Prix and run slowly? Outside chance. And that's what I think we're hearing. So Andy Cowell is over in Japan right now. Adrian Newey has set up what they called a crisis team to try and do something. Honda wanted to give themselves enough window to fix things, which would be a week later than Melbourne by China. But they can't run what they had in Bahrain. That's the bottom line. They have to bring some sort of improvement because the Bahrain car broke. It doesn't work. It shook the battery system to hell and it doesn't work. They just cannot get a race run together. So there has to be some sort of countermeasures to those problems in Melbourne. Will they take it a lot further by China? I think they will. And they're hoping to be competitive in China. It's only a week later. Let's see what they've managed to do, because this crisis team have been working 24/7. Can they do it? I don't know. Yeah, Reevesy says, "I'll probably making a cup of tea. Give me a break, TC." No, Reevesy, I'm gonna keep I'm gonna keep taking the piss throughout the whole show. But yeah, that's what I think is. Chef says, staying in Gisette, getting emotional. Good. As long as it's respectful, but we don't mind emotional. We don't mind validated opinions. We love debate. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I love the argument. Just keep it respectful. That's all it's got to be. But yeah, cool. We've got broad shoulders. We like the argument. We like validated opinions. And I'm always open to have my opinion changed. If you bring an argument that's better than mine, yeah, I will reconsider my viewpoint. That's actually, just bigging myself up here, that's the mark of an intelligent human being. You've always got to be open to having your ideas challenged by a well-validated, informed opinion. That's how we work. And that's how it goes. But yeah, it's Aston Martin. I'm rooting for them. I am rooting for them. But I think, here's my prediction. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think we're going to see a bit of a shit show in Melbourne, to be honest. That's how I think it's going to go. I don't know what about you, but that's what I think. So that's your update on Honda. Don't want to go too much about it, because that's Reevesy will tell you. I've talked a lot about Honda this week. Have a look at the show that's Aston's Crisis Unit. It's all in there. Earlier stream from this week. Right, next up. This is an interesting one. Red Bull. Now, this is an interesting point. Red Bull have prioritised super aggressive performance for their power unit over engine reliability for the 26 season. What is this all about? Excuse me, I've got a little bit of a blocked nose. This is what they're saying. So Red Bull have prioritised super aggressive performance over engine reliability for the 26 season. Where's this story coming from? Technical expert Gary Anderson and journalist Ed Straw have been discussing the development of the DMO1, that's a power unit, named after Dietrich Mateschitz. I can never say his name properly. I don't know why. Founder of Red Bull Racing, who passed away. But believe that Red Bull might have prioritised performance over reliability this season. Anderson was speaking about Red Bull's progress on the Race F1 Tech Show, and he explained, so Red Bull Technologies have had a serious input into the last couple of years of Formula 1 engines. So they're not starting from nothing. They're starting from a fairly well-known foothold. So it's one of these things. If their simulation tools are better than other simulation tools at working out exactly where you want that power, where you want to harvest it and you want to use it, then fine. They may be a second a lap quicker down the straights. But as an overall lap time, it's still going to be down to the balancing act of power usage against power harvesting. Straw replied, I think incidentally on Red Bull powertrains, one of the things that they appear to have done is they're very much taking the Red Bull team culture of being super aggressive on the power unit design approach. And I think there's a slightly higher tolerance for allowing unreliability in pursuit of performance. And then you can improve the reliability. That does seem to be a slight culture thing that they've got going on at Red Bull. But here's the thing, Gary and Straw. What's the evidence that that power unit is not reliable? I've not seen that. I've seen the Red Bull power unit. This is what I've seen from my eyes. I've seen the power unit is fast. I saw Max Verstappen topping the charts with top speeds down the main straight in Bahrain and do that lap after lap after lap by the aggressive way they harvest power. I didn't see too many engines blowing up, did you? I didn't see too many reliability issues. I didn't. I think they changed the engine once, but so did everybody. Ferrari ran the same engine in Barcelona and early at Bahrain, and then they did an engine swap. I think most people did an engine swap at some point in Bahrain. I haven't seen the evidence at the moment that Red Bull Ford powertrain is unreliable. I do agree with what you're saying about the philosophy at Red Bull. I do agree with that. They are aggressive. They will take more risks. They will try more stuff and at the risk of something breaking. Like, I do get that. Red Bull have that philosophy. But I've not seen that yet in their power unit. Obviously, we need to see it over a number of races to see just how reliable everyone's power unit is, how robust everyone's power unit is. Will they manage with only 2 engines each over the season? That's what we're talking about. Or will those engines not have that much longevity? We don't know. We don't know until they're in race conditions and they've done, 4 or 5 races. We don't know. Could they end up getting penalised for engine changes? Possibly, but we don't know. What I do know is the engine looks fast. Top speeds are good. Power output's good. They definitely showed me that their power harvesting technology in Bahrain was better than anybody else's. We've got some super chats. People got opinions on this. Auxilla says, should be a good couple of episodes for next year's DTS. Not that I watch it. Yeah, exactly. This year's Drive to Survive from this season coming up, by the way, is going to be full of drama. You've got Horner coming back to the grid, potentially. That's always a big story in DTS. But the people getting it wrong with the development, the upgrade plans, the cars changing, morphing, converging, who's got it right? Aston Martin's absolute shit show. Are they going to turn it around? Ferrari back at the top, competing. Drivers like Hamilton, Leclerc duking it out. Hamilton, what's going to happen to Hadjar? The actual... I'm breaking my computer at the same time. The actual Drive to Survive for 26 is set up to be a good one, Auxilla. Thank you so much for super chat. Thane says, Max Abel from last to first, no reliability needed. Exactly. But I don't know why they think it. This is my point. I don't know why these journalists are saying that. Are they just trying to create a story that's not yet there yet? It isn't there yet. That story's not there yet. The story right now is, how the hell? Right, here's the story. First time of asking, Red Bull and Ford look to have brought a pretty competitive power unit. Audi have done the same. Where the frick are Honda? Right? That's the real power unit story. If you're worried about reliability, you're looking in the wrong place if you're pointing at Red Bull. Gisette says, Max is bored. They need to keep him there in F1. That's true. They do need to keep him in F1. That's why they've got to perform. You can't just have, if you're the best performing driver, you've got to have a team that matches your ambition. Because here's the thing, every number 1 driver in Formula 1 should be worried. Truthfully, because if you're at Mercedes and Mercedes bring the best package, Max will nick your seat. I don't care if you're George Russell, right? Kimi Antonelli. Max is coming. If you've got the best car, if you're Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, I don't care who you are. If you've got the best car, the threat of Max is always looming. Auxilla says, Alonso relieving his nightmares of GP2 pass. Don't get me started on that, Auxilla. Thank you much for your super chat. But you're absolutely right. Fernando Alonso. How is Fernando Alonso staying so tight-lipped at the moment? Because Fernando Alonso's not scared of going, Honda, you're shit. Aston Martin are giving me a shit car. It's possibly my last season in Formula 1. And you have stitched me right up like a kipper with this package. How is he keeping so tight-lipped? It won't be long. Here's my prediction. If they don't turn it around by Canada, Alonso's going to let rip. Don't you think? He's going to let rip. He's going to let him have it. That's what I think. It's deja vu. Drop Tune says it's not even Red Bull who need to keep Max in F1. It's the FIA with ridiculous rules. That is a very bloody good point, Drop Tuned. Max is it is. The FIA need to keep him there. Red Bull need to keep him there. And I love that because Max is so valuable to the sport. I love that because it might help us get the sort of changes we want. Because I do believe what Max says about the rules and regulations. We're all thinking, and majority of F1 fans agree with him. Gisette says, bingo, old guy. Max, for the first time in his life, has a wonderful home life. He's rich and he probably misses his family a lot, so the sacrifice has to be worth it. Great bloody point, old guy chat and Gisette. Brilliant. Very, very true. But going back to the story that we've got on, I think it's too early to be questioning the Red Bull powertrain. Credit where it's due. It looks bloody good. We'll find out in Melbourne just how good. And my final story of the night, I like this one because this is making Piastri out to be a rock star. Check this out. I think this is interesting. The Piastri effect is in full force. The Australian Grand Prix on track for another attendance record. And this is what they have to say. These are the stats. Check this out. Oscar Piastri. Piastri Mania has hit Australia. And I just wanted to throw some stats at you. So we wanted to celebrate and honour Oscar, even if he's not quite a world champion yet. He's already a champion in our lives with the amount of races he has already won, especially when we've already named stands after the likes of Mark Webber and Daniel Ricciardo. What have they gone and done? We've carved out an area in which is now the Piastri stand, directly opposite the McLaren garages. It's probably one of our most premium grandstands. Not as premium as F1 grandstand, baby, but right on the start-finish line. Everyone that goes in there will get caps and flags. So we'll see the Oscar Piastri colours. It's the one stand that sold out immediately. They had 465,498 visitors last year to the Melbourne Grand Prix. We're certainly tracking to break that again. We've slightly increased our venue capacity, so we're now at capacity of 141,000 on Sunday. We have our event fundamentals that drive what the capacity is, like having enough amenities, food, and ability to walk around, and public transport getting to the circuit comfortably. We feel like we've really ticked the box in all those areas. So what he's basically saying is, Piastri Mania, baby. Piastri Mania has hit Melbourne, and not only is F1 Mania hitting the 26th, the drama that's about to unfold at Melbourne, the starts, what's going to happen, the horror show that could be Aston Martin, the competitiveness of Ferrari, like we're all excited. But for Melbourne, Oscar Piastri is making the difference. He's got his own bloody stand. He's got his own stand. And let's not rule out McLaren for being quick in Melbourne. I'm not saying they're going to dominate like they did at the beginning of last year, but do I think they're going to be there or thereabouts? I do. So yeah, I do. That's what I think. So McLaren Mania hitting Melbourne. Piastri Mania to be more specific. And I am here for it. I've got a lot of shows to do this week. Make sure you don't miss any of them. We've got watch-alongs for covering all of the Melbourne Grand Prix. We've got practice, qualifying, and the race. Join me for all of those. And, of course, the usual night live news shows as well every night. It's a big week for F1 Grandstand. It's a big week for Formula One. Thank you so much for watching tonight's show. I will be back. Thank you so much for all your super chats as well, everybody. It makes a massive difference to the success of the channel. Every penny goes back into the channel. So thank you so much. Been a great show. I will see you all tomorrow night at 7:30 GMT. Oh, yeah. One last super chat from Gemma just as I'm finishing. Oscar has one thing Max doesn't. What's that, Gemma? A McLaren? I know he has that. We'll come to it tomorrow night. Gemma. Thank you so much for your super chat. Thank you so much. I'll see you all tomorrow night at 7:30. Ta-ta.